Karen's victory lasted exactly 18 hours. She woke up to the sound of multiple vehicles outside her window. Peering through her blinds, she saw a convoy that made her blood freeze. 2 police cars, a county inspector's van, and a news truck with Channel 7 Investigates emblazoned on the side. Her phone buzzed with a text from Maria Santos. "Check the morning news." The local news anchor's voice drifted from her living room TV. Explosive allegations against HOA President Karen Whitman, who residents claim has illegally locked them out of community services while barricading herself behind unauthorized security installations. Karen's coffee mug slipped from her hands, shattering on the kitchen floor. They'd gone to the media. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Karen saw Detective Rodriguez from the White-Collar Crimes Unit, someone she'd unfortunately met during a previous HOA dispute involving her predecessor's missing funds. "Mrs. Whitman, we need to talk." Karen opened the door with her practiced smile. "Detective, what a surprise." "Cut the act, Karen." Detective Rodriguez stepped inside without invitation. "We've got complaints about computer fraud, theft of services, and something called community hostage-taking. Plus, that audit report came in this morning. 12,000 in questionable charges, falsified vendor invoices, and unauthorized personal expenses." The room started spinning. Karen gripped the doorframe. "I can explain everything." "I'm sure you can, after your process downtown." As the handcuffs clicked around her wrists, Karen saw her neighbors gathering outside. Mrs. Chen was live-streaming everything. The Thompson twins were taking selfies with the police cars, and Maria Santos was giving an interview to the news crew. But the cruelest irony came as Karen was led to the patrol car. AquaGuard Security was already dismantling her pool fortress. Apparently, their contract had an illegal activity clause that voided all agreements. 3 hours later, Karen sat in a holding cell next to a shoplifter and a drunk driver, her designer suit wrinkled, and her authority completely evaporated. Her phone, now in evidence, contained hundreds of messages from reporters, lawyers, and reality TV producers. The charges were serious: embezzlement, computer fraud, harassment, and illegal modification of community property. But the real punishment was waiting for her at home. By the time Karen made bail that evening, Sunset Meadows had already elected an interim board, restored all system access, and scheduled a celebration barbecue by the newly liberated pool. Someone had even hung a banner, "Freedom from Karen Day." Maria Santos met her at the community gate. "The restraining order is permanent now. You're banned from all HOA property except to access your own unit." Karen looked through the fence at her former kingdom. Residents were swimming, laughing, and enjoying their community without fear for the first time in 18 months. Children were drawing chalk art on the sidewalks. Someone had even planted flowers in the formerly forbidden garden beds. "You think you've won," Karen said quietly. "I think we've all won," Maria replied. "Even you, eventually. Maybe now you can learn to be a neighbor instead of a dictator." As Karen walked to her front door, she noticed something that made her pause. Mrs. Chen was watering her flowers. Dave Thompson was teaching his kids to ride bikes, and the elderly Mr. Patterson was sitting peacefully by the pool, reading a book. For the first time in months, Sunset Meadows looked like a home instead of a prison. But as Karen closed her door, she was already planning her appeal. After all, there were 3 other communities in the area, and their HOA boards looked so disorganized. Some people never learned. To be continued. Karen stood in her marble-tiled kitchen, blow-drying her phone with desperate intensity while her assistant's voicemails piled up on her landline. The mayor's call had been a disaster. She'd stammered through 15 minutes of small talk before admitting she'd experienced technical difficulties with her presentation. Her dreams of regional HOA domination were already crumbling. But Karen Whitman didn't surrender. She doubled down. By noon, she'd hired AquaGuard Security Solutions to install a biometric scanner at the pool gate. By 2 p.m., she'd drafted new bylaws requiring board approval for any pool usage between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. By 4 p.m., she'd received 17 angry phone calls and 43 text messages from residents. The emergency board meeting was standing room only. Karen had expected maybe a dozen people. Instead, nearly 60 residents packed the community center, their faces ranging from annoyed to furious. Even teenagers who'd never attended anything were there, armed with smartphones and attitudes. "The floor recognizes President Whitman," announced Board Secretary Janet Mills, though her usual deference had an edge tonight. Karen approached the podium, her freshly pressed pantsuit armor against the hostile crowd. "I've called this meeting to address the security concerns at our community pool." "Security concerns?" interrupted Dave Thompson, father of the infamous twins. "The only security concern is you breaking into the pool at dawn, like some kind of chlorinated burglar." Laughter rippled through the room. Karen's jaw tightened. "Mr. Thompson, you're out of order." "No, Karen, you are out of order." Mrs. Chen stood up, phone in hand. "I have video of your little morning swim. Should I show everyone, or do you want to explain why the HOA president thinks rules don't apply to her?" The crowd murmured approval. Karen felt control slipping away like water through her fingers. "The board has executive privilege during emergency situations." "What emergency?" This from Maria Santos, the community's newest resident, and unfortunately for Karen, a civil rights attorney. "Your pool tantrum, your illegal gate installation, or maybe the $12,000 in questionable charges the management company is investigating." The room erupted. Karen hadn't realized the audit news had leaked. She watched faces turn from annoyed to angry to something much more dangerous, organized. "I move for a vote of no confidence," Maria announced, her lawyer voice cutting through the chaos. "Seconded," shouted at least 5 people simultaneously. Karen gripped the podium. "You can't. The bylaws require." Section 7.3, Maria interrupted, consulting her phone. "Any board member may be removed by majority vote of the community when there's evidence of misconduct, financial impropriety, or actions detrimental to community welfare. I'd say breaking into the pool and installing unauthorized security equipment qualifies." The vote was swift and brutal. 47 in favor of removal, 8 against, 3 abstentions. Karen Whitman's reign was over. But as the crowd celebrated, Karen smiled. They'd forgotten something crucial. She still had all the HOA passwords, bank access codes, and vendor contracts. Tomorrow, she'd show them what real chaos looked like. Karen woke up at 4:30 am with a plan that would either redeem her or destroy everything she'd built. From her home office, she systematically began changing every password, transferring funds to a separate emergency management account, and sending cancellation notices to every service provider except one, AquaGuard Security. By 6 a.m., she'd locked the entire community out of their own systems. The first sign of trouble came when residents tried to access the online portal to pay HOA fees. Error messages greeted them instead of payment screens. Then the landscaping crew showed up to find that access codes disabled. The mail delivery service couldn't get through the main gate. Even the garbage trucks were locked out. Karen's phone started ringing at 7:15 a.m. She let every call go to voicemail while she implemented Phase 2, the pool fortress. Using her remaining authority as transitional president, a title she'd invented that morning, Karen authorized AquaGuard to install motion sensors, floodlights, and a speaker system around the pool area. She even convinced them to add a small security booth, claiming it was for community safety. "Ma'am," the AquaGuard technician asked, "are you sure about the speaker system? Seems like overkill for a pool." Karen smiled coldly. "Trust me, it's necessary." The first residents to discover the new security measures were the early morning joggers. At 6:30 am, they triggered motion sensors that activated blinding floodlights and a recorded message in Karen's voice. "ATE in Taiwan. This area is under enhanced security protocols. Unauthorized access will result in immediate fines and possible legal action." Mrs. Chen, who'd been documenting Karen's downfall, was not amused. "She's lost her damn mind," she muttered, recording the pool's transformation into a miniature fortress. By 9 am, Maria Santos was at Karen's door with a legal document. "Restraining order, she announced when Karen answered. "You're banned from HOA property pending a full investigation." Karen's smile never wavered. "I'm afraid that's impossible. I'm currently the only person with access to essential community services. Surely you wouldn't want to compromise resident safety?" "What are you talking about? Check your mail delivery, your garbage pickup, your gate access codes." Karen's eyes gleamed. "I'm the only one who can restore services. Fire me if you want, but you'll need me to keep this place running." Maria's face went pale as she processed the implications. "You're holding the community hostage." "I prefer providing essential management services during a transition period." Behind Maria, a small crowd had gathered, including several board members and angry residents. Karen could see them whispering, planning, organizing. But she also noticed something else: fear. They were beginning to understand the scope of her control. "Here are my terms," Karen announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Full reinstatement as HOA president, a public apology from the board, and guaranteed support for my regional expansion proposal. And if we refuse," Dave Thompson called out. Karen's smile widened. "Then I hope you all enjoy hand-delivering your mail and personally hauling your garbage to the street. Oh, and good luck explaining to your insurance company why the community security system is offline." As the crowd dispersed to assess the damage, Karen retreated to her fortress of solitude. She'd won this battle, but watching their faces, she realized she might have just started a war she couldn't win. The real question was, how far would she go to keep control? Karen Whitman stood ankle-deep in the pristine community pool at 6:47 a.m., fully clothed in her business suit, clutching a laminated copy of the HOA bylaws while screaming at the horrified maintenance worker. Section 4.2 clearly states that board members get priority access. She shrieked, her mascara running down her cheeks as chlorinated water soaked through her designer blazer. The maintenance worker, Miguel, backed away slowly, his net still dripping. "Ma'am, the pool doesn't open until 8. I am the HOA president." Karen's voice echoed across the empty courtyard, causing Mrs. Chen from Unit 12B to peek through her blinds. "I have a conference call with the mayor in 20 minutes, and I will have my morning swim." This wasn't Karen's first public meltdown, but it was certainly her wettest. 3 hours earlier, Karen had received the email that shattered her carefully constructed world. The community management company was conducting an audit of all HOA expenditures, and her administrative fees were under scrutiny. $12,000 in questionable charges, including a $3,000 consultation fee for redesigning the pool rules she'd written herself. Karen had built her identity around being the supreme authority of Sunset Meadows community. For 18 months, she'd ruled with an iron fist, issuing fines for Christmas decorations left up past January 2nd, banning children's chalk art as property defacement, and instituting a complex permit system for garage sales. The residents feared her, but they also needed her approval for everything from fence repairs to plant replacements. Now, standing in the pool like a soggy dictator, Karen made a decision that would change everything. "Miguel, I want you to install a private gate," she commanded, water sloshing around her legs. "Board members only. And I want security cameras, good ones, to monitor every inch of this area." Miguel's eyes widened. "Ma'am, that's not in my job description." "Then find someone whose job it is." Karen climbed out of the pool, leaving puddles on the concrete. "I'm calling an emergency board meeting for tonight, 7 p.m. sharp." As Karen squelched toward her Mercedes, leaving a trail of chlorinated water, she didn't notice the small crowd that had gathered on their balconies. Mrs. Chen was recording everything on her phone. Mr. Rodriguez was shaking his head in disgust, and the Thompson twins were already composing messages to their neighborhood group chat. Karen Whitman had just declared war on her own community, and she didn't even realize it yet. The audit results would arrive in 48 hours. The emergency board meeting would happen in 12, but the real chaos was about to begin in 3 minutes, when Karen discovered that her soaking wet phone had died, taking with it her prepared remarks for the mayor's call, the same call where she planned to propose expanding her authority over 3 neighboring communities.